Hey everybody, Zach Cords here with Revzilla, bringing you a quick first ride review of this 2021 Yamaha MT-09. This is the first major overhaul of this model since it made its debut in 2014, and that means a new engine, new frame, new styling, all LED lighting, a new dash, new wheels, and new suspension. First things first, the engine, which has made a lot of fans in the past decade. It is now 890 cc's, up from 847 cc's via 3 millimeters of stroke. There's also a plethora of changes made to the intake and exhaust to meet Euro 5 regulations while keeping that same mid-range punch that everyone has come to love. Next, Yamaha redid all the electronics. So now it has a 6-axis IMU borrowed from the YZF R1. That means lean angle controlled ABS, as well as traction control, slide control, and wheelie control. Wheelie control can be turned off, which is in the nature of this motorcycle to want to do wheelies. Some of the biggest changes have come on the chassis front, most notably the steering tube or headstock, which has been lowered in the frame by about 1 inch. With that comes shorter fork tubes, and the springs in the fork as well as the shock are now stiffer. Along with that, the lateral rigidity of the frame has been increased by 50%, which is kind of a big deal considering the old MT-09 always had a reputation for soft springs and a little bit of a wiggle anytime you were in a corner. Overall, the chassis updates have made a huge difference, especially on a twisty road. The suspension dives less under braking, squats less under acceleration, and feels much more stable on the edge of the tire, which is a huge improvement for people who want to use this bike on canyon roads or even sport touring missions. Ergonomically, there have been some pretty big changes as well. The rider triangle feels a little bit more conventional than the previous MT-09, and as an example, there's a lot of adjustability. So the clamps that hold the handlebar in place are offset, which means if you turn them 180 degrees, the handlebar moves up and forward by about 10 millimeters. Likewise, the foot pegs can be raised to 2 extra holes, not unlike racing rear sets. The new TFT dash is small, but it's very usable, which I appreciate. The settings are not very deep and not very complicated to use. Some of them are even adjustable on the fly. The last big ticket item is pretty plain to see, and that's new styling, including all LED lighting. Riding around town, in large part, the MT-09 is still the same excellent urban machine as it's always been. The suspension is a little bit stiffer, which makes it a little bit more harsh over really nasty potholes and that kind of thing. But overall, having the chassis feel tighter and better put together is good no matter what surface you're riding on. If you do take the bike on the highway, you will notice there is absolutely no wind protection, so you'll be holding on for dear life if you go more than about 70 or 80 miles an hour. But Yamaha claims better fuel mileage than the previous engine despite the displacement bump. I have not been able to test that yet, but in general it's smooth, easy to use, and could be used on long road trips if you can take the wind in your face. Overall, the MT-09 has shed about 8 pounds from the previous model and has added about $400 to the MSRP for a total of $9,399. It's not easy to make a good sequel to a great movie, and Yamaha kind of turned the motorcycling world upside down with the first FZ09. So the fact that this bike is fun, not much more expensive, and has increased safety and performance in a noticeable way means a lot. Okay, that's all I've got for you here from the 2021 MT-09 launch. No fewer than 1.5 thumbs up for the new MT-09. It is a brilliant successor to the original FZ, and I can't wait to spend more time on one. Friendly reminder that by the time you're watching this, I have no doubt written an excellent article about this bike that is live on commentread at revzilla.com with more photos and technical details on this ride and this machine. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. See ya.